Hi guys, welcome back. In this tutorial we'll be looking at views. Say for instance the view in front of you, there's a way, if you just like this particular view, what you can do is to save the view. We are currently in a 3D view, so you just go to 3D, right click, and say duplicate view with all the details or with detailing, and it makes a copy there, so you can just zoom back in, and that was the view that you had before. So in a sense, I always prefer to call it something that you can always remember. So if you say call that, rename it as say 3D 1. Okay, so that's a view. Anytime we can always come back, and then we can we'll see that particular view. Now if we want to do other views, if I go back to level 0, that is our site. So I can go to views just by clicking. That's architecture. Just go to views, and then you see 3D view. Just click on the arrow and you see the camera that is there. If you click on the camera, you can just set up views for all the different places of interest within the scheme itself. Say for instance I wanted a view to look from here. I can put my camera here, just direct it to the building, and just click, and that gives you a view. You can actually adjust the view from here by moving all of that. That looks okay, and you can render it as well if you wanted to. If I leave that like that, so that's a 3D view 1. I'll change that. Let's leave it as that. 3D view 1. If I go back to my level 0, or let's go back to 3D, we can conceivably decide to start looking at these to look at shadows. Like here, if we want, we can put our shadow on. By doing that, you can see the difference. Makes it quite interesting, because you can see the light, the light and the dark parts of the scheme. So and that is in the view control bar. So if I then if you wanted to render, you can look at the show rendering dialog box. That will bring the render dialog box out. For now, let's try other views. If I go back to level 0, we've got one view there. I can start go back to view again. Click on the arrow, camera, and maybe get a view from this angle. And that's the view from that angle. You can adjust it there. You can actually do a bird's eye view. If I just escape, do view, click on the arrow, camera. If I come from this angle and click, you can see it's blocked a bit by the fence wall, which may not necessarily be a bad one. I'll accept this because it's a slightly different feature there. And then I'll do the last one. If I go back to level 0, go back to view, camera. If I come from this angle this time, right, okay, so we have got an eye elevation of 1.750 meters. We can change that to a bird's eye view, say 20. Let's try 20 meters and see what it gives us. 20,000. So you can see that from a bird's eye view. You can zoom in a bit. Right. Okay. Put the shadows on. We can render it if we wanted to, but we're not going to be rendering that right now. Put the shadows on that one as well. I'll put the shadows on. And that's just detailing. You may decide if you want to have it say shaded. You can have it that way. Brings out all the colors. In fact, let's switch that on for all of them. So I'll just find details on. And that's on your view control bar. If I put you can try consistent colors or shaded. Depends on you. Well, it's just consistent colors sort of is lighter. Well, I quite like the deep contrast, so I'll leave it like that. This was the first one. No, this was the copy of the 3D view that we had. That looks okay. I like the contrasts here as well. The shadow is on. If we put the fine details in and do shaded. Yes, more dramatic, I think. So I'll go with that. And then the fourth one, that's our bird's eye view. The shadow is on. I'll put fine details, and I'll do shaded. I like the dramatic change in color. I think it's quite nice. It shows the building off. So those are different views of our building. You can always go back to them at any time. I'll very quickly show you, if you wanted to put this on a drawing sheet to print, you just go to you see sheets there, the plus mark. Just click on the plus mark. There's already a drawing sheet there. If you want to add another drawing sheet, just click on the sheet, right click, and just say new sheet, A1 metric is fine, which is okay. You just put it in. You just click on the one you've just created, right click and rename it. Say we call it 3D view 1. So 3D view 1, and say OK. So you can see that has changed. What we then do is if you right click on it, you will say add view. I'll look for my 3D view 1, which is there. That's the one we created before. Add that view to the sheet. You can see that that is quite small. What you can do is you can increase it. Just go back to 3D view 1. Now I think that's fine for now. I suppose what you could do is you can add all the different views into one sheet. So all you then do is right click, add view, 3D view 2, add it to the sheet, and then now I can do 3D I'll click on that, add view, 3D view 3, add to sheet. Go back again, 3D view, add to sheet. That is the last one there. Right, and those are the different views that we've created all in one sheet, which you can print out at any time. To print, really, it's very easy. Just go to I'll just save this first of all. Just press your application menu, click on print. It's showing outside the recording area. If I click, it tells you what printer you've got and all. So all you need to then do is to come into click on this, select the drawing sheet you want to click just by going down. We just created A101 3D view 1. Just look for it, which is that one, and just click OK. Do you want to save the settings for use in the future every session? I'll say no. And then you can just you can then just print. It's all selected. All you need to do is just print, but I'm not going to be printing that, so I'll just close this. So just close. If I go back to my 3D, which is where we left off, I'll very quickly show you how to obviously we've got these elevations, but obviously they are not flat on with the building. If I wanted the elevation looking square on the building itself, all I then need to do, I can use this elevation that it gives you. You're then able to sort of set the view square on with the building like that, and straight away it shows you elevation 1A. If I want to do more, say from the rear, I'll just put that there. That's 2A, (3A), and 4A. So if I escape to come out of that command, 1A, you can see what the elevations are looking like. It is clipped a bit, so if I just sort that out, if I pull this in, pull that in, pull that, and pull that back. Right, if it says this clip with outline, if I click on it and say no clip, then you see the whole elevation is showing properly. So if I pull that in a bit more, and then you can see it's showing shades of gray. All I need to again do is go to the view control bar. I'll just put in fine. I can put the shadows on. You can see the shadows have come in. I can then go for shaded. So there you've got your elevation. I can drag that back. Right, and the same thing with 2A. You can see it's all clipped. All you need to do is this clip without line, remove, say no clip, and then just move all of this out. I think that should be fine. Yeah, looks okay. If I put the shadows on, if I want fine details, and then if I do it as shaded, I'll zoom in a bit, you can see that is our elevation. Same way you can put them into a drawing sheet if you wanted to. I'll just do this one, clip with our line, remove no clip, and then I'll just move these out to reveal our building. Just zoom in for printing. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so if I just say if I put reveal all the fine details, put the shadows on, and put shaded, consistent colors. Well, I'll go with shaded, more dramatic. And the last one there, if I do that, just bring it in, zoom it all the way in. Yeah. And like just as we have done in the other ones, let's make it fine. Very little difference. Put the shadows on, and go for shaded if you want. You can try all the other ones. Depends on what you want or what you feel you prefer. So we've got our elevations. That is one elevation, square on. Another elevation, the rear, the side, the other side, and then we made a view. But first of all, we copied the view as it was on the as we had it initially. Just by, don't forget, to do this you've got to right click and duplicate. Then we made all the views with our camera. These are perspective views. And you can the same way that I showed you to put them on drawing sheets, you can put any of these views into a drawing sheet. All you need to do is come here and draw sheet, or right click, add a sheet, or or use this anyone that is unused there, and then add the view. This will all show once you add the view to the sheet itself, and you can print. I think that brings us to the end of this particular tutorial. In this tutorial we looked particularly at views. We looked at how to save views, and we looked at how you might create views as well, which using view, 3D view and camera. So you're essentially doing perspective views of the project. Then we looked at how to set up your project on drawing sheets. We looked at how you might print them, and then we went on to look at elevations. The elevation markers that were originally created in north-southwest, they all point to this north-southwest, which may not be perfect face-on view on the building. So what I normally do is to leave that, rather than adjusting where the north-south is. Just leave that alone, and then use your elevation here under views again to create dead-on elevation of the project. And that way north, I always leave north pointing upwards, so that when you come to use when you come to use put the shadows on, they are absolutely dead on right, as it will be in real life. You can see your shadow projections as well. What we didn't look at was to render a project, which is really by using this rendering dialog box here. If I just click on it very quickly, it's coming outside the window. I'll just drag that in. All you then need to do is click, select how you might want to do it. Maybe you want a high render, a high resolution render, and this is where all of those settings come in, your north and all. So all you then need to do is just click render there, and the building begins to render, as you can see. You just give it some time, and it will render the building. It is rendering very quickly actually, so I might just leave it. I was just summarizing there, but I've gone and started a new to show you something else. Well, it seems to be rendering very fast. Let's see how quickly it does that. I'm always very conscious of time, so that we don't spend too much time on each tutorial. Well, let's give it a few minutes to finish this render. Great. So you can see it's finished rendering. That once it's finished, you just say save to project. You will call it a name, and I will accept the default name. Say OK, and then you'll probably find that you will just save it. You will create under your project browser renderings, and you see plus, and you see what the one you've just this view that we've just rendered. It's stored there. So I'll just say show model again and then escape. So yes, I was summarizing there, and I've just managed to show you as well the how to render. You can practice by going around and rendering all the different views which you can use or export to maybe JPEGs. On the application menu, that you can export them to JPEGs. So we come to this to the end of this tutorial, and see you at the next one.